Hello, everyone.
Yeah. All right. I'll call you if I have any more trouble. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm preparing to go live.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Roxy. It says connecting to audio for Roxy. Can you hear me, Mel?
I can hear you.
Good.
I'm getting
Can
ready.
anybody hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Everybody
Can you hear?
I can
Yes.
hear you.
Good.
Got a little bit.
Oh, you just broke out. Say something again.
Has a little bit of a background noise. Can you hear me?
Just on me. Melody, say something. Is it just on me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is there a background noise just on me or on on everybody?
Hello. It sounds a little tinny, like metally on your side, Robin.
I think it's my my earbuds. I'm going to take these out.
Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting ready to go live. Hold on.
As my grandmother used to do, she'd walk up and go, okay. Ready? You know?
Is my sound better now?
Yes.
I think it was the AirPods.
Okay, let me go back.
Did you get my email, Roxy?
Which one?
The one I just sent about 10 minutes ago?
No.
Okay.
Some more people are coming in, so hold on.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Michael's coming online. That means we really have to be good.
Michael's coming back from a closing, and I left my computer at the house. So I was trying to get out before all the kids got up.
Okay.
Mom this, mom that. And so I'm on his computer, and he's, I guess, on his phone. I see Carissa's on the call.
Yes, we got a great group of people on the call today.
Yeah.
Hi guys, how you doing, ladies?
Good. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's 11:03. We're going to take it away. I want to say thank you to these two dynamic ladies that we have in our office, Miss Roxy Hernandez and our new ATL, Miss Robin Lemon. We want to say thank you guys for stepping up to the plate and helping teach this class for our agents. It's mastering contracts. I know we all have problems when we're dealing with special stipulations and negotiating tips and problem solving, and we have two of the best ladies out there that can help you with this. And we're gonna take it away. I'm not sure who's first, Robin or Roxy. So you guys have at it. The floor is yours. Thank you again.
Okay, well, I'll just say, Robin, if I can 5 minutes at the beginning and 5 minutes at the end. Just to funny, and then I'll let you lead us through all this. How's that?
That sounds good, but you do more than 5 minutes at the beginning and 5 minutes at the end. We want your wisdom. All right, so good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for jumping on. We really hope that we're going to bring you some great value today. And sort of the way Roxy and I, we've taught before, and we really want to make this more of a mastermind. We really want you to ask questions. There is a little bit of an agenda. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you for just a minute so that you can either screenshot that to return back to it, or just know that we do have an agenda, but we do want to really be flexible and be able to answer your questions. So before I share the agenda and we get too far into it, I see the people that are on the screen right now. Out of who I'm seeing, I see that there are some that have already written contracts. So just by whether it's in the chat box or take yourself off of mute and let us know how many of you have actually you've written contracts, you've negotiated, and actually, why don't we do it the opposite? How many have not written a contract yet? Let us know who you are.
If you're talking about real estate contracts, I have not.
I have
Okay.
not either.
That's Tony, right?
That is.
Okay,
Hi,
Tony.
Robin. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Who else?
Good morning. This is Ebony. Ebony, I haven't written a real estate contract. Congrats. Hi, Robin. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Thank
Ebony.
you, Ebony. Anybody else?
Brian has it.
Okay, great, Brian. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so Alexandria, Melinda, Donna, who else am I missing? Rhonda, you all have written contracts. Rebecca Z, you all have written contracts before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Donna. I have, Robin. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, very good. So sometimes, I have found, and I'm sure everybody has, where you just find that you can go to all the classes that you want to, but it isn't until you're right in the middle of it, and it's usually at night after you've spent all day showing houses and you're writing that offer for that buyer, that all of a sudden now you're thrown into writing a contract, and it seems like everything that you've learned is like, wait, what? Where did I get that one from? And sometimes you can go into a panic mode. So some of what we're going to talk to you about today may just be something you refer back to later. But for any of you who are in contracts right now and you have some specific questions about that, hey, raise your hand. Feel free to ask us the questions. That's what we're here for.
Or Robin, I have the chat box ready to go. People can type in a message.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so let me share the screen real quick to the agenda. That's the wrong screen. Hold on. Let's do that again.
I told Robin this morning I was not able to sleep last night because this is not the same Robin. She is now our assistant team leader, and I have been so nervous about doing this with her.
She's
So
amazing. We're so proud.
Thank
Now
you.
Now you know how I feel about co-oping with you, Roxy.
Oh, we're doing, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. You're fun to work with.
Yeah, okay. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Can you see this? Okay,
Yeah.
good, good. All right, so mastering contracts, special tips, and negotiation tips. So we're going to talk about, first of all, writing the offer. we don't want to get so much into the minutia. This is this exhibit, that's that exhibit. But do ask questions if you're like, hey, I'm in the middle of this. How do I do this? Because that's what productivity coaching and contract classes and things like that are all about. Because I want really take every single contract class you can possibly do it. And every January, make sure you are in Miss Melba's class or wherever, because there are always changes to the contracts. So we're not going to get too much into the minutia of a contract, more of writing the offer and how do you present that offer. And we're talking a little bit about mindset and just different ways that Roxy and I do it, how we present offers and how is it, especially in multiple offers, how do we get those multiple offers? So, so the first thing, and Roxy and I touched on this when we were talking yesterday, and Roxy asked me a really good question. She said, how do you present your offer? And it doesn't matter if it's a multiple offer situation or in just you're presenting the offer, no other offers are on the table. So a couple of things that, and Roxy and I will sort of role play a little bit. Once you get your offer ready, remember your exhibits are always A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're the alphabet. Your amendments are amendments 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So when you've written your offer and it's a clean offer, guys, don't load it up with a lot of special stipulations. I was probably a year or two in the business, and I wrote this offer on this house that, man, it needed a lot of work. And I was so proud of myself because I loaded this thing up, right? I mean, I loaded it up with special stipulations. I was like all over it. And they, you know, they said, when I got the offer, and it was competitive, when I got the offer, they said, they didn't accept my offer. And I thought, why aren't you? And so I asked, why didn't my offer get accepted? Anybody have any idea why my offer wasn't accepted?
Too many stipulations.
Exactly.
And you appeared to be hard to work with.
Say that again?
Your appearance to the other agent probably was, oh my gosh, you're going to be hard to work with.
Yes. And he said to me, he said, you know what? Great offer. And he said, but you loaded it up with so many special steps. He said, we were just, you're just going to be too much trouble. And I said, no, I'm not going to be too much trouble. And he said, we already accepted another offer. So I was heartbroken. I was so proud of myself in the beginning. I'm like, yeah, I'm protecting my client. And they didn't get the deal. So we did find another offer, and I did clean up those special stipulations. So what do we mean by not loading up the special steps? Roxy, what do you mean by when you say I'm writing, when you call an agent and you say I'm sending over an offer and it's going to be really clean? What do you mean by that?
I may not even have a home warranty in the original offer. I may say let's do that in the amendment to address concerns or the right to inspect. Just one less thing. I may, you know, it's going to be very clean. The closing date, the sales price, are we asking for closing cost? I already have my pre-approval in there. We may not do a long due diligence period or an appraisal contingency or a financing contingency. We may put all of those in. We're not going to ask for furniture. We'll deal with that down the road. I'm not in the business of selling all this furniture. Let's deal with that. Maybe we negotiate it during the inspection period. All my exhibits there, everything, a nice package, not with millions of steps on, you know, professional cleaning. The wife has to see the property if this doesn't happen. So just very clean, very easy to get to the point.
And you do that because you have a strategy. You've seen the house, you've walked the house with the buyer, you have a strategy, you kind of already know some things that you're probably going to ask for. If you walk around a house and you see you know, you see wood rot everywhere, or you see that, you know, the garage door, there's wood rot, you know, halfway up the frame and things like that. You already know sort of down the road, or maybe there isn't a whole lot. And so, you know what, I bet you I can use the right to request repair instead of a due diligence instead, right? You kind of have a strategy on how you're going to play that out, right?
Yes.
Guys, any questions about what we're talking about right here? We want this to be sort of a mastermind. So any comments, questions, examples, take yourself off mute and tell us some of your own experiences here.
I have a question, Robin. You just made a comment that you can use a right to request repairs instead of having a due diligence period.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, that's a great question, because depending upon how long you've been in real estate, when I mention this to people and they're like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, the contracts that we have now are revised every year, sometimes a couple of years, based upon comments they get from realtors or complaints from consumers. But years ago in our contract, we didn't have this due diligence quote period. Is that you did your inspection and then you did a form, which you still have access to, right to request repairs. And it has a lot of positives in there. So from a seller standpoint, before a buyer, you know, decides to terminate during this due diligence period for any reason, remember, they get in a fight, the husband and wife, they don't want the house. They decide they don't like the color. They decide they don't like the neighborhood. They can terminate, no questions asked, or they can do their inspection and just say, something is alarming to me, I terminate. A way around that is you can say to your buyer, before we just terminate, maybe the seller is willing to do some of these items. Let's put your items on here, the electrical, the plumbing, and the structural crack, whatever it may be. And let's do this on a right to request repairs. Then you present that to the seller, and then you can go back and forth negotiating instead of just that hard line, we're terminating, here's our termination. So from a seller standpoint, I love it, because tell me what's wrong, Robin. Tell me what the concerns are, and then let me see if I can make it a win-win and we can accommodate before your buyer just terminates. We've been off the market for 10 days. Does that make sense?
It does. How does that right to request repairs differ from an amendment to address concerns?
I'm gonna screen share. I'm gonna screen share right now with you so that you see what this looks like. Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just move this down here. Let's get this away too. All right. So your right to request repair is different in the way, and guys, anytime that if you have not read the contract from beginning to end, the purchase and sale agreement, please read it so that you can explain it. If you get somebody that wants an explanation, tell me what I'm signing, you are doing a disservice to your client. We are fiduciaries. We have a fiduciary responsibility to know our contracts, know our exhibits, and be able to communicate that back to them. So not just knowing your purchase and sale, but before you use this exhibit, please read it in its entirety and then try to explain it to somebody else so that you understand. Because guess what? For those of us when I got into the business, you know, Roxy's been in it. I've been in the business 14 years. You've been in the business, what, 25 years, Roxy?
Yes.
So when I got into it 14 years ago, this was the only form. It was the property sold with right to request repair. The difference between this one and the amendment to address concerns is that first of all, it's in concept. The reason why Roxy said it's really great for the seller is because when you use a right to request repair, the only reason that your buyers can terminate is if the seller refuses to do the specific repairs as defined by this exhibit. You'll see the very first one, buyer shall have the right to request that seller repair and or replace defects. Well, how is defects defined? Because what this means is you're not going to go in and say, Hey, the closet door, the ball on the top of the closet door that latches it, that's loose. We want it fixed or we're going to terminate. That's nonsense. That isn't a defect. So how is defect defined? Scroll down and you'll see 5B. The term defects shall mean all of that. So that means that you're giving the assurance to the seller, hey, we're not going to ask for a bunch of nitpicky things. Look, if your air conditioner is broken, if your air conditioner is defective, if the windows have fogged over and they are defective, those are called defects. But just cosmetic repairs, that's not a defect. So then it allows the seller a little bit more control of what they're going to repair. They can still walk away. Your buyers can still walk away if the seller doesn't want to do these defects, right? Repair these defects. And you would do a notice to terminate if that's the case, and your buyer can get their earnest money back. But sellers love this. When I'm representing the buyer, heck, I love it, because that then allows me to set a certain expectation. It's very clearly defined right here on 5B. And that means, hey guys, we're not looking at other properties. You're getting married to this property right here. You put a ring on it. And the only way you're going to walk away is if the seller will not fix a defect as defined by this contract.
Now, of course,
Does that make sense, Donna?
does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you.
Also, Robin, you've got in there that you have, like in due diligence, you say, I've got 12 days to do the due diligence. On this particular exhibit, you've got 10 days or 12 to do your inspection, but then after you've done it and you write the amendment to and accompany the inspection reports, and then the buyer and seller will have like 3 days from that to decide what to do, called defective resolution period. So you've got 3 more days, or 10 and 3 or something like that, to really hash it out.
Right.
That's exactly right, Karen. That's exactly right.
Now,
Rox, this is Nicole. Quick question. Are you doing this in multiple, are you using this in multiple offer situations and forgoing your due diligence and going back old school? Or are you doing this in conjunction with?
no, it can't be both. It has to be either or, and you'd put on the due diligence on the front page of the contract, 0.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, it can't be both. But I will say, if you have a buyer and they say, we don't like this house at all, it's got so much stuff wrong with it, you may have to write out everything in the darn inspection report. But if the seller agrees to take care of A through Z or 26 items or whatever, your buyer bought the house. Okay?
Yeah, I just want to make the distinction because I knew what you were talking about with the address repairs, because I've been back there that long ago as well. I just want to make sure everybody knew it was one or the other and not both.
Yes, one or the other.
5 days and then I have inspection and I whip out this exhibit. You know what I'm saying? This amendment. It is one or the other.
Yes.
Additionally, you guys, when you do that, this is where there are so many new agents that, and what I mean by new, it didn't go away, but they replaced it with the due diligence, maybe 13 or 14 years ago. It was, so we've been doing it as due diligence. Really, it sort of came about during the foreclosure days because, it was like the banks weren't going to fix these defects. And so then, the attorneys are going, you know what, we've got 50% of what's on the market are foreclosures. And so that right to request repair really kind of needed to go away for that time. And they just never switched it back. So when you're looking at, when you're having to explain that, there may be many agents who have no clue that there's even an exhibit called right to request repair. So when you do need to understand that and be able to explain that, because you'll have to educate the other agent and educate that other agent so they know how to present it to their seller. And a way that you can make sure that that's going to be communicated correctly is that on your first page of the contract where it says the due diligence, just like Roxy said, you're going to put 0 there. But in the special stipulations, when using a right to request repair, in your special stipulations, what you want to do is you want to actually say, you're going to fill in, because there's not on your contract itself, in your special stipulations, or in your exhibit list, there isn't a right to request automatically populated in there. So you have to check the other and then write out right to request repair, exhibit A, B, C, or D, whatever you're going to do. And then in the special stipulations under there, do spell it out. Say this property is being sold subject to a right to request repair, repair period. Please refer to exhibit A, just so that agent that is presenting it to the seller, just so they don't skip over that. You want to make it really clear so that, and you can educate the other agent for that. Got it?
Okay. Okay, Robin, you want to jump on to another one?
Yep, let's do it. So there are, when you're not involved in a multiple offer scenario, what are some standard special stips that you tend to always put in your contracts?
Termite.
Okay, you do, Nicole, you do the termite thing. Anybody else?
Septic clearance letter and
Yeah.
pump out per septic.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Maybe home buyer warranty.
Right. So what you're going to do is, if you even have an inkling that you might be in a multiple offer, go back to what Roxy said in the beginning, keep it clean. Keep it really clean. So there are many of those things. If you're going to use a right to request repair, you're going to be really careful with that, right? If you're going to do a due diligence, then no sort of, if it's on septic, you know you're going to ask for a septic clearance letter. Do you know that there are already special stipulations written out for you?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Does everybody know where to see this?
Yes.
On the GAR site?
No, I don't. And
Okay.
also, when you say a clean contract, can I kind of get a list? I just want to make sure that I am completely clear about being super clean.
Roxy, you want to address that while I'm doing this?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that at the very beginning. While you're looking for that, Robin, of not, junking it up with special stipulations, furniture. Oh, we want the couch, this and that. We want the lawnmower. Ebony, if you want, we can talk a little bit more about that later.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, guys, this is where you find your special stipulations. Did you see how I got there? Now, a full disclosure, I'm doing this in .loop because I'm way more proficient in .loop right now than I am in Command. So forgive me for that. But look, all you had to do is in a search window, I said add document. You go in here to templates, click on GAR Interactive, and you can put in the search window whatever you're looking for. So if you're like, wait a minute, what was that right to request repair? Okay, it's going to populate for you. Just use your search window all the time. And so I had already searched that. So it's already in here. So now here is your GAR special stipulations. You can copy and paste this if you want to. Some of these, I used to use these all the time, and some of them I have done the same thing, except I've just cleaned it up and made it a little bit less wordy. Example, termites, guarantee provided by seller. That's so wordy when you put it in a special stipulation, right? But if this is your first one, feel free to use that one. But I'll bet you anything that Roxy doesn't use that. I don't. I will use I will say something like, a seller shall provide a clear, quote, clear termite letter, also known as a Georgia wood destroying organism report by the end of due diligence period, or whatever I want there. I won't ask for a termite bond, because guess what, you guys? If you just ask for a clear termite letter, nobody can get a clear termite letter. If there are termites on the property, a termite company can't issue a clear termite letter without treating it. So you're going to be able to get that termite bond out of it. You're going to get that clear termite letter, and you're going to, and when you get that letter and it shows that there are termites, guess what? It's not a clear termite letter. So you'll be able to get that termite bond on there. Just little tip there. Okay.
Hey, Robin, question for Tony. I haven't been through Ignite yet. Is there a basic contract section in the training in Ignite?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, there is.
Great.
And I can't tell you enough that any class that Melba is teaching on contracts or special stipulations or whatever, please take her classes. And if there are other classes, you know, that Atlanta Board is doing, jump on those. You can't, and you know what, in your spare time, read the contracts, the special stipulations, just read these exhibits and role play with your, you know, with your PC coach partner or whoever. Role play so that you're getting it. Anything else on that, Roxy?
I was just going to say, if you're in multiple offer situations and you have the seller disclosure statement and it says there's a termite bond with Arrow, let's not always be lazy as buyer's agents. Let's call Arrow. Arrow, I have some companies will not talk to you. Okay, they have to talk with the seller directly. They won't speak to a buyer's agent. But call Arrow. Hey, I have a buyer looking to buy this house. Can you send me the bond on the property? When is the renewal date? I mean, why ask for a termite bond right off initially if you know there's a full year left in it? Do a little due diligence on your side so it's not another stipulation, you know, when you're in a multiple offer situation. So
and when you're the seller, when you're representing the seller and you have that seller fill out the disclosure and there's a portion on that seller's disclosure about termites, don't let them cheap out. Have them call their termite company and put that information in the seller's disclosure so that Roxy doesn't have to, you know, track down, okay, it looks like it's Arrow, where's that number? No, it's already there, including the start date and when it actually renews. Have your sellers fill out those disclosures completely.
Hey, Robin, I mentioned that I do termite pretty much every single time, but in the multiple offer situation recently here, because some inspection companies now use other companies with their inspection, I have eliminated it because I have suggested a couple of inspectors, about 3 of them, that do the termite with another company, so that way I'm getting it as well.
Yes. Yeah. One word of advice is if a listing agent always said, and one told me recently, I don't know why you guys are doing a termite inspection. I represented the buyer. We have a bond through Arrow. And I said, that's great. But just because you have a bond doesn't mean they're professional and reputable and they come out and actually check. And I would say half of the time they end up finding termites. Then it gets into who's the bond with? Are they going to take care of it? Because we have something showing. So you can always use those free inspections. Always do them for termites, even if the seller has a bond. That's my 2 cents, but.
Yeah, and find out if it is a retreat and repair bond or is it just a retreat? Okay, presenting the offer. Roxy, I have an offer for you.
Fantastic, Robin.
Great. So Roxy, I just want to let you know a little bit about my buyers. So my buyers, I'm going to be sending it to you. They are awesome buyers. Roxy, they love the house. He's a graduate of Georgia Tech. She's a stay-at-home mom. He has an excellent job. They're pre-approved with 2 of my preferred lenders, so they've already had their docs in. They're fully pre-approved. They're not, you know, it's not a pre-qual. They're pre-approved. Docs are in. Everything has been checked. Roxy, it's going to be a clean offer. I'm talking short timelines. I'm going to make this so easy. We're going to have so much fun. So we've got short timelines, short due diligence, and you know, or I may say, guys, right to request repair, and then we'll talk about that. For right now, I'm going to say short due diligence. We've got a short financing contingency, and I'm really excited to work for you. Hey, Roxy, when do your sellers need to be? When do your sellers need to be out? What's your seller situation?
Sure. They don't really know where they're moving yet. They've just realized with all the COVID going on, it's time to simplify their life, and don't know if they'll, stay here in Atlanta and move out of state where the grandkids are. So we're very flexible.
So
We could
Roxy,
close within a couple
so would it be helpful? My folks don't have to, they're in a lease right now, so they have a little bit of flexibility. Would it be helpful if we push that closing out to about 45 days?
That would be great. And then, I'll talk with them and maybe we can close sooner. They might need a little bit more time, but I'll convey that to them that your buyers are flexible.
Okay, great. Another question, Roxy. Now, guys, I'm going to ask more questions of her if there are multiple offers. So the first thing I'm going to do is, hey, Roxy, do you have any other offers on the table?
I did have an offer come in this morning. I have not presented it to my client yet. She travels. So we are supposed to talk after lunchtime, but I do have one. A couple other people said they were going to send them in, but Robin, we know how that is. I only have one, and don't lie, guys. I only have one that's on the table.
Awesome. So Roxy, how are you going to, how is your seller going to handle the multiple offers? Are they going to wait for highest and best, or are they just going to respond today on whatever comes in today? Are you going to give it a period and then say send highest and best? How are you going to do that?
We have talked about those different scenarios in our initial consultation before we put the house on the market. And with this buyer, I do feel like she would want to call for highest and best and put everyone on the same playing field.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that. Well, we're really flexible. We want to make it really easy for your seller. So if they need a temporary occupancy agreement in place so that they can have a couple of days to move out if they need that, we're totally flexible. Are they going to be buying another property? And if so, do you want to try to do back-to-back closings at the same closing attorney?
They don't know exactly what they're going to do. Like I had mentioned at the very beginning, this kind of just came up, and I don't know whether they'll stay here, whether they'll rent, if they'll move out of state. So I don't have an answer for you yet on that.
Understood. Well, Roxy, thank you so much. I'm going to send you a little cover letter. It's a buyer letter to your seller, just kind of letting them know a little bit about what they liked in the house, and just real clean. Please call me back when let me know that you got it. Send me a text or something, confirm that you get it. But I'm sending it to you in just a few minutes. Any questions for me, Roxy?
Are you what kind of financing are your buyers getting?
We're going to do a conventional loan. They're putting about 20% down. Okay. Yeah, real clean.
And they don't have any house they need to sell?
No house to sell, first-time home buyers. I'm really proud of them. 20% down, first-time home buyers.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, make sure you send me over the financing letter, just so I can reach out to that lender. And you've got my email address, roxy@kw.com, and I'll take a look at it and present it just as soon as I get it.
Excellent. We may give you just a little bit more time since they're traveling. So feel free, if we don't give you enough time, just communicate back and we may be able to extend that. Just let us know.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Robin.
All right. Thanks, Roxy.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Get your buyers to write letters, but don't make them so sappy that they're ridiculous, right? But get them to write letters to the buyer or to the seller. Anything else on that anyone wants to add?
Question about that. You alluded to during your conversation, not only is there a short, non-sappy letter, but also is it a good idea to include a pre-approval lender letter?
Yes. Yeah.
Always.
Okay, got it.
And as a listing agent, then I'm going to pick up the phone and call before we even respond. I'm going to call the mortgage company and ask them questions. Sometimes me as a listing agent, I know more of what's going on with that buyer's lender than their own agent, because one, we keep in touch with them, but I want to call them up front. And here's what the conversation may be. Hey, Antonio, it's Roxy Hernandez with Keller Williams. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Roxy. How are you?
Hey, I am doing great. I've got just a couple of questions for you. I have just received an offer. Robin Lemon is the agent. Do you work with her frequently?
Yeah, I do actually. Robin's great. She's been at it for a while. She's very experienced, very dependable.
Fantastic. Well, a couple of questions I have for you, because different lenders put different terminology in these letters. Have you already verified their income, pulled their credit, looked at their credit scores? Where are you in the process with her buyer?
Thanks. We've actually done all that, and we provided them with a pre-approval letter, so they have that available for you if you'd like them to, if you can get it from them.
Okay, she sent that to me, and they do not have a house to sell?
No, they do not.
Okay, I'm looking here at the letter you wrote. They're putting down 20% interest rate not to exceed 3%. Does that sound right?
Yep, sounds like pretty much what we sent them.
Okay, and how long is it taking for your appraisals? What are you experiencing right now in this market?
You know, got a little bit of COVID thing going around, so it's taking, normally it would be about a week. It's taking around 2 to 3 weeks at this point.
Okay, fantastic. And let's see, she's got in here O'Kelly and Sorahan as a closing attorney, which is fine with us. Anything else you'd like to share about these clients?
No, they seem to be a pretty good set of kids. They're brand new home buyers, and you know, somehow or another they came up with 20%. They've been banking with us for a while, so they're great banking customers. We like them, so we're wishing them the best in their home purchase.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I look forward to working with you. And one other thing, have they been under contract on any other properties?
None that I'm aware of. As of last I made contact with them, which was probably about 2 days ago.
Okay, fantastic, Antonio. Well, I've got your email. I'll call you back if there's any questions, and Robin or I'll be back in touch. Take care.
Excellent. Let us know if we can help in any way.
Thank you. The reason I asked about the other contracts is I just had someone terminate on a property. And if I would have asked the lender that question, we're always learning. If I would have asked the lender and he was up front, we were the 4th house they had terminated on, wouldn't that have given me a little bit of information to kind of keep in my back pocket that they've done this 3 times before?
Yeah, I agree, Roxy. The question is, how often is a lender that forthcoming in answering that question?
Yeah. My motto is I'm going to keep asking questions until they say, Roxy, you know I cannot disclose that. Same with a listing agent or a buyer's agent. It's amazing what you can find out sometimes if you keep asking questions.
Excellent. Thank you.
There is the key. Keep asking questions. Did you also notice that she said do they have a house to sell? Because you would not believe how many people, I know it's happened to you, Roxy, in the past where you've been presented an offer that is not contingent. And when you start, and and we're going to go into negotiations. And one of the first thing about negotiations is empathy. When you're talking to that other listing, when you're talking to the listing agent and you're representing the buyer or vice versa, but we're going to go from buyer to seller first. When you're representing the buyer, what the seller, the very first thing you want to do is when you talk to that buyer's agent, you want to ask as many questions as you possibly can. What's their situation? Have they, where do they work? What do they do? Now, yes, it may seem like you're playing, but guess what? What if you say, oh, great, tell me a little bit about your buyers. Where do they work? Well, I've got a buyer. He just started his own business and he's going to kill it. I know. Guess what? Boom, 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 boom. Warning bells are going off in my head. What do you mean the dude just started his own business? Because guess what? You can't get a loan for when you start your own business. You can't get a loan for 2 years. You have to have 2 years of tax returns, right? So this is where I'm already thinking this guy's not going to get a loan. Are you kidding? So unless maybe he's got a co-borrower or something like that, there may be other ways to get that. But that's something I'm going to try to find out right away. Same thing when you're talking to that lender. Hey, they don't have a house to sell. Can they qualify for both mortgages? Or anything like that. Sometimes I'll say, hey, are they getting by the hair of their chinny chin here, or do we have a lot of space for them? So, and it's amazing what lenders. I had one where somebody sent in on a townhome listing where the guy said exactly that. Well, 3rd time's a charm, I hope, for them. I've been chasing this guy. I've been chasing this guy for 2 weeks to get his documents. We didn't take that offer, right? So learn to ask those questions. Let's go straight into negotiations. Okay. I'm going to do a screen share real quick because we want to respect your time. So yes, go ahead.
So I know like we skipped this, but what is it like that you basically include in that letter? Like that you want your buyers to include? Like I've done where like if they move from a different state, they have kids, they have pets, like what they love about the home and whatnot. But is there something that you say like it's a must for me to include in that letter, like that you've done?
Really, the most important thing is that have your buyers put themselves in the seller's shoes. If I'm walking through the house and I see they are huge Georgia Tech fans, and I happen to know that maybe their parent went to Georgia Tech or they went, use some sort of mirroring technique, use some sort of common ground if you can. If there isn't, the most important thing that you want to let them know is that, hey, we're gonna take care of your house. We're raising a family, or we're a young professional couple that this is great because we can jump right on 400 here. We really like how the community looks. The way that you've taken good care of your house, whatever it is that you feel is going to add value to that, and grab onto that. I don't think there's a set formula. You want your clients to be real and appear genuine and just sincere. Hey, we really appreciated this about your house. You took the time to really make it ready to sell. We value that, and this is who we are, and we really hope that that we're going to be able to work together, or something like that. Just let it come from their heart.
For disclosure reasons also, I would ask my buyers, what can I share with the other agent if they ask me about where you work for things, because you don't want to get into disclosing too much. And it was also advised, I know some of us have used photos of the family before, to possibly not do that just because of some possible discrimination down the road on why a seller took a certain offer. I have mixed feelings on the letters. I did have a buyer recently that said, I'm not writing a letter. Either they want my offer or they don't. So I kind of have mixed feelings on it. But okay, Robin, let's go to the next thing.
Thank you, ladies.
You bet. Okay, negotiation tips. There are a couple of books that I think are really great. The resources down at the bottom, I don't want to skip this, so I'm starting this first. One is called Never Split the Difference. It's by Chris Voss. Don't let the title throw you. You'll notice on the red at the top of that screen share there, it says negotiation tips using the Y4C2Ts. If you have not been in our training room because you're just, you're new to the office, when you get into the office, go into the training room, and I want you to look at that red wall because it's the Y4C2Ts. It is the culture. It is the philosophy of Keller Williams. And the first one is W, win, win, or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. Communication, seek first to understand, right? These are our basic core beliefs. So don't let that title, Never Split the Difference. The reason why this book, he was written by a CIA hostage negotiator. And so, hey, if you can negotiate the release of hostages, I think you can probably negotiate. And he wrote the book called Never Split the Difference. And it's really more about negotiation techniques. And it isn't just, okay, send out 10 hostages, but you can kill the other, right? It's all about finding either a pain point or a pleasure point, finding something that you can empathize with, that you can help satisfy a need on the other side of the table. So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Get it, it's worth reading. There's also a little handbook that you can buy that's sort of a summary that is more of an addition to it, but I keep it on hand. It's a great, I use it often. The second book is Relationships by Dr. Randy Ross. He's local here. It's all about relationships. Read that book. Also listening to the book podcast, listening to podcasts. Ben Kinney has a podcast called Win, Make, Give. Podcast number 65. It's awesome. So do listen and read those. Okay. Logic makes you think. Emotions make you act. Have you heard this before?
Yes.
Of course, right? It's actually a bold law. Logic makes you think. Emotions make you act. Be nice to your co-op agent. It's not a battle, you guys. It's supposed to be a win-win. Just like when we said, hey, Roxy, I'm presenting an offer. I'm very conversational. I'm not, hey, I'm sending an offer. I need to know if you have multiple offers. And, you know, what's your seller looking for? I'm more conversational. I'm a little bit more laid back. If I'm working with a seller, right? If I'm working with a seller, and I'm saying to that seller, maybe that seller is nervous. They're hesitating when they're talking, and they're pausing when they're talking, and they're just kind of, well, you know, I was thinking, I was feeling this. Sometimes your very first way to win them to you is empathize with their concerns. You might even slow your lane, you might even slow your roll a little bit and match their tone just a little bit, not as down as they are, but you may just start empathizing with the stress of selling a house. You know what? I'm with you. We just sold a couple of years ago. The packing, oh my gosh, the decluttering, I get you. This is stressful. And I get that, right? Mirror, if somebody is really excited, and they're just like so excited, they got all this nervous energy and they're talking really fast, and oh my gosh, I'm just really not sure about what I'm going to do here. Then, you know, you can match their energy, but you may need to slow their voice down. You may just drop your tone of voice, drop your voice down just a little bit. Yeah, I'm super excited too. This is really going to be awesome. I'm so excited about this house. It seems to be perfect for you. Let's talk about next steps. How are we going to structure this offer, right? So there's empathy, mirroring, and labeling. Okay, so I'm going to stop screen share. Do you guys have that? Empathy, mirroring, and labeling. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. I think empathy, we all get it, right? Mirroring, I think you kind of get that too, where I may mirror someone's personality. I was raised in the Air Force, so I moved around a lot, even to other countries. And so for me, it's kind of easy to be a chameleon and just kind of, you know, go with the flow with somebody, and I can sort of match them a little bit. If you have a hard time doing that, don't worry about it. Think about the times when you go out with your friends, and next thing you know, you're all saying the same thing. You're all exclaiming a certain way. That's mirroring. Don't overthink it, right? Let's talk about labeling. Roxy, you're the seller. You're a little nervous about, you know, I'm your first person you're interviewing, so you're a little nervous if you're going to about interviewing somebody else. You're nervous to make a decision before interviewing someone else, right? So you're going to be the seller, and I want you to kind of be that. You're a little nervous. You're concerned. You're going to present those concerns. We're going to role play for 30 seconds here. So I've just come in. We've sat down at the table. We've looked at the property a few minutes. We sat down at the table. And they're starting to say, you know what, I'm interviewing a couple of other people, roll with this, and I'm gonna do empathy, mirroring, and labeling. Go.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Look at my arms. Okay. So, Robin, I don't know. You seem great. You were referred to me, but I just don't get this, this 6% commission, and I'm going to interview a few other agents.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And here's what I did. The first time I sold a house, I went with a friend who was brand new. She was brand new, and I wanted to help her out because she was brand new. Wow, what a mistake. I'm telling you, what a mistake. And, she took pictures with her cell phone. This was back before smartphone. She took a picture with her cell phone, and man, I immediately felt like I had made a mistake. So I get it. That, and there are so many different marketing plans, and there are just different ways so I get that. I really do. Because I've been there. So what have I done, you guys?
Feel, felt, found, basically in your own experience.
Right? Anything else?
What I would,
Acknowledging her concerns.
yes.
Empathize.
Yeah.
Empathize. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Said too is that when a seller does that to me across the table or across Zoom, see my arms? I would say, Roxy, if I said something to offend you, no, why do you think that? Oh, well, your arms were crossed, so okay. Or they're like, well, I don't know. Tell me what you think my house is going to sell for, and then I'll tell you if I'm offended. So that's a sure sign of, or they're looking around, you seem a little distracted. Try and figure out what's going on with them. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Tapping. Somebody starts tapping. Guess what? You're talking too much, right? They start looking around. You're talking too much. Get back to asking questions. Logic makes you think. Emotions make you act. Let's talk about what Chris Voss talks about, labeling. So Roxy, we've already talked about price. We're talking about price now. So, and I say, now, Roxy, when you go into a listing, do you give a range of price or do you give an exact price?
A range.
So do I. So what we do is when we give a range, so I've already presented, we've got our chart master stuff, and I've gone through all the chart masters, and we've looked at the other listings, and we've compared the other listings, and well, if you were a buyer today, which one of these listings do you think you would like? How would that compare to your house? Blah blah blah. We've already done all that, right? And that's another class for another day, guys. Get in your listing classes. So on this, we've gone through that. Now we're at that price point where everybody's they're looking forward to it, but they're dreading it as well. So here we are at the price point. This is labeling. So Roxy, I really feel like, we're here, we've looked at these different prices and things like that. So Roxy, do you feel it would be right to be between, $450 to $465? Do you feel that's sort of the right spot?
Well, I've been into my neighbor's house next door. It's the same floor plan. I have granite. They don't have granite. I've got a much better lot. So I would feel that that's too low. I would say at least 475.
At least 475. Thank you for that, Roxy. So when we looked at these numbers, and we looked at the days on market there, and we saw that the highest one in the neighborhood is 465. And it does have these things, plus it also has a finished basement where yours has only partially finished. So Roxy, how do you feel is the right price point here with those conditions there, right? How do you feel is the right price point there?
Well, Robin, if I have to pay you a 6% commission, when I deduct those out, I need to sell this house for 475.
475.
Yeah, because I'm moving on to a more expensive area. So if I can't get that, then I just won't sell.
Right. And when you move on to another area, what area is that, and why? What is it that makes you want to move?
I'm moving back to Amarillo, Texas, where I grew up, to be closer to family.
That's pretty important to you, right? To be near family, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got siblings out there, and my father passed away a few years ago, and want to be closer to my stepmother. I only get to see a year.
Right. So it would be fair to say then, would it be fair to say that that's really, really important to you?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing, and we could go on and role play. What I wanted to do is I needed to get her buy-in. I needed her to focus on that, get to that word either yes or that's right. Yes or that's right. Because if you hear you're right, then you still don't have their buy-in. Oh, you're right, I see that those are the prices, but they still haven't decided whether or not it's 465 or 475. But I've immediately switched it. I've gone to her emotions, and then I'm gonna circle back around to that logic. If I list that for 475, do you know I'm gonna have a 2-week pricing strategy in there? And I'm going to get her buy-in because I want to hear that word, that's right. This is the right thing to do, not you, me, or I. This is the right thing to do, right? So it's no longer personal, but it's the right thing to do. It's going to get the house sold. Does that make sense?
And if you take the approach by saying, I understand now, Roxy, where you're coming from, you might want to talk a little bit more about it. And if you decide to take that listing at $475, then you could say, let's do this. Let's go ahead with your price if that's what you want to do at $475. Once we've had 10 to 12 showings or 2 weeks, the market, not Roxy, but the market is going to talk back to us on what is the feedback we're getting. Are we getting showings? Are we not getting showings? What can we change? What can we not change? And would you say that at that time, then we would need to re-strategize on whether price or condition of your house? No, that seems fair. That seems fair.
That's awesome. Any comments, questions about that, you guys?
Very helpful.
Very helpful. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you guys, if you don't have any other questions, we want to respect your time. If you have any other questions, we'll hang on just a few minutes if you do about anything we talked about here. Raise your hand real quick if you do. All right, so you know that you have productivity coaching. So you have resources, right? You have your mentors, Kathy Ray and Susan Corley. I'm available, Roxy's available. We're all available, your ALC members. Your ALC members are always available to you to help you in writing these contracts, any big picture, little picture. Reach out. This is our culture. It's what we're here for, right? So reach out. Thanks, you guys, for being just a part of the class and giving really great feedback. It's perfect.
And I do.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Roxy.
Yes, if you want to pass this
Thank you,
along,
ladies.
Robin.
Appreciate it.
I love to negotiate. That's my best part of the whole transaction. I'm excited when I can help get someone's property on the market, but it just gets me pumped when we get a contract. Is we can do another negotiating class of how, from the very beginning, when you get that offer,
Yes,
how you present it to the seller and what not to do.
that'll work.
So.
That is a whole class in itself. It's awesome. We'll get that on the calendar.
Okay.
Thank you again, ladies. Have a terrific day.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.